Welcome back to JB Reviews. Today we're going to drive the 2023 Ford F350. Now I am super excited because they have done some enhancements with this engine, and today is a super cold day. So this is probably the worst fuel economy you're going to see for this engine, and in the spring and summertime maybe we'll do some more driving videos to see how well it does. But special shout out to Larry H. Miller, Super Ford store in Salt Lake City. They did allow me to do this test, and yeah, if you are in the market, be sure to ask for Brian. He's one of the salespeople here, super knowledgeable guy, and he's great at ordering Super Duties. Just saying. On this test, I am going to be doing some new things. I do have a Draggy now, which does record actual 0 to 60, but it's unfortunately really cloudy, so it's not going to work today. And because the roads are really slippery, I don't really feel comfortable doing a lot of hard acceleration. So we're gonna take it easy. And let me go ahead and reset the fuel economy too. Let me go ahead and do that now. Reset. There it is. So now we're gonna be able to see what this bad boy can get. So I do have this guy today. This is a sound level meter. So we're going to be able to get an idea of some of the sound levels. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I think that this is going to be important, especially that I'm doing a lot more videos with different trucks. This would be good for like off-road tires and just regular all-terrain tires, mud tires, all that stuff too. So yeah, this should be interesting. Now, what I want to show you guys once the truck gets on the highway is some of the temperatures. Ford did something really cool with this truck, and I'm super excited to get mine now because you can now monitor all the temperatures for the engine, transmission, coolant, oil in one spot, and that's really helpful, especially if you're towing. So like I said, we're going to go over that today, and yeah, we'll see how this heavy truck is going to perform. So acceleration on this truck, I've said this in the last videos I've done on 7.3s, it has really great torque, even like under, 1500 RPMs. And, one thing I've always said about gas engines is I don't like how they feel on the road. And what I mean by that is the diesels have such a heavy presence on the road that you can feel that weight. But this truck with the longer wheelbase, and this is a pretty heavy truck all in all, and I'll show you guys the weight of it. This truck does feel pretty secure and planted. So even if you are looking to tow a slightly larger trailer, I think this truck would do a great job. It did a good job towing my fifth wheel, and I feel like having that 10-speed transmission just gives you great performance in all the gears. I'm only going 65 miles an hour, and I'm humming along just under 2,000 RPM. So keep in mind, this is a 430 rear end too. So having the 373, you might get a little bit better RPM out back, because actually I know you will. Brakes are still a little touchy. I'm not gonna be a baby about it, but the brakes are definitely still a little touchy from what I'm used to, I should say. Like my GM doesn't have touchy brakes, my Ram didn't have touchy brakes, but Ford trucks have touchy brakes, and this one is no exception to that. So here it is. The 7.3 liter is pretty quiet at idle, and let's just be honest here, guys. Number one gas engine so far. Now once I drive the 10-speed, as I've said in other videos with GM, I'll let you guys know my thoughts. So 430 horsepower, 485 pound-feet of torque, and this is mated to the 10R140, which is a 10-speed transmission. And I am excited to see how this engine performs in this really cold weather, because it's about 30 degrees outside right now, and the temperature's probably going to be a little bit cooler as I go up the road too, so something to look forward to. One thing I would like to see from Ford, and this is just something small, but being able to adjust the convex would be really nice inside the truck, because I didn't check that convex before I left, and I can't adjust it while I'm driving. So it would be super nice if they would allow you to do that. Now Ram does allow you to do that even on the lower trim level, so that's something I would like to see from them. Now we are about to get to the midpoint here. I do a lot of testing on this road, so we're gonna get off at 297, which is the next exit, but here's where we are so far. 12 MPG. Now that sounds terrible, but remember guys, it's 30 degrees outside. I mean, the coldest I've seen so far was 28. So 30 degrees. This does not have active grill shutters either. So that's something that would probably help a little bit with the temperatures being so cold. But nevertheless, fuel level is low. So in order to move that, all you have to do is hit OK there. But yeah, let's check out some of the temperatures. Check that out. 189 for the engine coolant. Transmission's at 180. And engine oil temperature's at 192. Not bad. Not bad at all. And visibility is no different from the other Super Duties from the past, from 2017 on, because this cab is basically the same thing. So I'm gonna hit the brakes here real quickly. I'm gonna kind of hold my hand kind of loose. So you guys see that? Like the brakes are, I'm not like hitting the brakes hard. I'm just pushing them in, and they are very touchy. I think that you have to get used to it personally. Like, it's not terrible, but it's just, if you have people riding with you, it might come off as kind of annoying. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, overall, here's where we are for fuel economy at the midpoint. We're at 13.1. So I think the best I've ever done with like a half ton was like maybe 18 or 19. I haven't done any testing with any other HD. So in the future, I will start doing more testing. As you guys know, the Jerry Sinus store is right next to the Larry Miller store. So they'll have some trucks coming in soon and we can do some testing with those as well. So here are the numbers for this truck. This does have a gross axle weight rating at 5,200 pounds. The rear is 7,230 pounds with an 11,900 pound GVWR. But it's pretty big. So you have a 4,778 pound payload. So this truck weighs about 7,100 pounds, a little bit more than 7,100 pounds basically. So, you know, that's actually pretty good. And the reason why your payload is so high is because of how light this truck is. If this truck weighed another 1,000 pounds, then this would be 3,778. Now, as I mentioned, it is a little wet, so I am going to give it a little bit of acceleration here. Oh yeah, this truck is fast. Like, I was going 75, and as soon as it dropped down, I think it dropped down to, I think it was 6th or 7th gear. I didn't look down long enough, but it was just, it was climbing. Like, that's what I love about this setup. And as I mentioned, because this truck does have the 430 gears, you're gonna probably feel a little bit more of that grunt in these higher speeds. Now, I don't think that the 430 really helps you down low as much, but you know, the RPMs do run slightly higher compared to like a 373. And if you are going up a steep grade, towing, you know, 10, 15,000 pounds, and you hit that accelerator, you're gonna be at a little bit higher RPM too in every gear compared to a 373. But all in all, this does have a locking rear axle, and they do not have automatic four-wheel drive. I would like for them to have, you know, that more versatile transfer case to have that, because when I came to the store today, the road still had snow on them, and there was a few times where we came to a stop, and as we kept going, my truck was spinning, and then I remembered, oh, I have 4 auto, so I put it in there, and every time it would just launch. So that's something I would like for Ford to add, and they may have that on higher trim levels too, but all in all, it depends on the tires they use, and they are using Bridgestone dualers that are pretty good tires. They're pretty comfortable, and as I said, we're gonna test out some of the noise inside of here, so I got to shut up first. So let me shut up for a little bit. So 61. Hopefully you guys can see that out back. Yeah, 62 out back. Let me see by the window here. It's at 65, 67 by the window where the mirror is. So when I'm talking, it's at 75 to 80. So I must be a loud talker here. Gee whiz. But let's go ahead and jump over and see where we are for fuel economy. Here's a little bit of acceleration for you guys. All right, so I will hit it once I get around this curve and once I'm on the straightaway. The steering inside this truck is definitely nice and tight, because I think this truck is still pretty heavy for what it is. All right, so you guys ready? A little bit of acceleration. Wow, that is not not bad, guys. That is not bad. The roads are wet, and I didn't even have it all the way down. It did have a little bit of hesitation. I am not looking at the gears. Yeah, it drops down to like 6th gear, so I just tapped it there. And the transmission is really fast to respond. I've said this in the past, when you have it in tow haul mode, it seems like the transmission gets kind of busy. So it almost may be better to just manually shift the gears yourself. And then that way you can kind of lock it into either 7th gear or 8th gear if you want. And then that way you're always in that broadband for the power. But all in all, I'm really happy with how this truck handles. These seats are super comfortable. And let's talk about that for a second. Something I like about this truck, this is an XLT, so this is not a high trim level, but it's not a low trim level either, obviously. The XL is the base. This truck does have really good bolstering on the sides of the seat. And because you have a telescoping steering wheel, this does come in handy as well. So I feel like you can get really comfortable. Because this is an XLT, you do have a power seat moving forward and backwards. However, the back is still manual. I am surprised that they did that. I felt like they kind of cheaped out and gave you just a regular manual seat for the back, but that's okay. You still have lumbar support, which is nice. And yeah, I think that this truck is pretty comfortable. I've owned my GMC now for about, what, 6 months now? And the seats are a little bit harder, but again, it doesn't really bother me, but these seats are noticeably softer. And I think that GM should probably change the bolstering in the seat to be about like this stiffness. I think Ford has the softest, followed by Rams kind of being in the middle, and then GMs are just harder. But all in all, I think as you sit in the seat, it will get softer. But this is definitely a nice feeling truck. I like how heavy this truck feels. Like, that's when you drive this truck, that's the first thing you're gonna feel is how heavy it is. And a heavy truck handles well, in my opinion. The steering feels nice and secure. And I mean, the brakes, they're touchy, but you know what? It'll get the job done. That's one good thing. Now when I stop, I'm going to show you guys some of the engine braking with the manual shifter to see how well it does. I won't get too aggressive with it, obviously, because it's a new truck, but I just want to show you guys just how that works. The interior inside this Ford is definitely basic, but it doesn't feel basic. Like, you still have USBs, you have an 8-inch screen right here, you have cool driving modes, you have off-road, so tow haul mode, normal, and there's another one, I think slippery. Actually, you know what? I should put it in slippery mode. Oh yeah, they have eco mode too. Let's put it in eco mode for a little bit. So we'll be back at the dealership in maybe 5 or 6 miles, so we'll do a little bit of that, obviously with eco. But again, I'm at 66 miles an hour, and I'm just under 2,000 RPMs. Let me see if I can get up. I don't know if I'll be able to, but if I can get up to maybe 75, that way you guys will be able to see a little bit more of that RPM. I'm gonna get up to about 75 here. I'm still in 10th gear. You see that? So 69 is where you need to be at if you want to get the fuel economy, because you're just over 2,000 RPM. So I'm gonna drop back down a little bit to about 71. So I'm just at 2,000 RPMs, guys. That ain't bad. That is not bad. 430 rear, that's a low gear. So you're gonna be turning a little bit more RPM, and that's okay. That is okay. I'll show you guys what the transmission gearing is, but this thing has like a 460 something, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's pretty deep for first, second, and third gear. And I think they have actually the deepest gears in the segment for their transmission. Now, it's not really a fact yet, but Ford and GM kind of did create this transmission together. I think there's just a small few differences compared to the two, but for the most part, they are essentially the same transmission. But yeah, like I said, when we get off of the highway here and I have to come to a stop on the off ramp, I'll show you guys some of the downshifting here, okay? There's a little bit of traffic up here, guys. Normally I just kind of hum along on this road, but because of this, it's gonna obviously affect the fuel economy a little bit. So here's where we are right now. We're at 13.8. And listen, 30 degrees outside, there's a little bit of precipitation. The roads are wet. you know, this is going to affect fuel economy, but that was mostly like, that was probably 80% highway. Now figure about with this 70% maybe. Yeah, that's, I mean, hey, for what you have here, you know, I think if you're on the highway for like at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes, you could probably get 15. I think that the 430 gears will definitely hurt your fuel economy. But I prefer that out here in Utah, because if I'm towing a trailer up a steep grade, I need to get all the RPM I can get, because you're gonna lose some horsepower the higher you go up above sea level. So I think in some parts of where I'm at out here, I wanna say I'm what, 7,000 or 8,000 feet? I might even be higher than that where I'm at. So yeah, it's just something to consider. That's why I got the 430 gears. I really wanted to get the best performing gas truck I could get, and that 430 is gonna do the job for me. All right, you guys ready? So here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and shift it into, actually I don't have to shift it down into manual mode. So there it is. I just wanna see if the transmission gets hotter too. A little bit of brake. Oh yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I think if I was in tow haul mode, it'd be a little bit more aggressive, but for the most part, guys, that's not too bad. I'm impressed with this truck. Like, it handles well, very comfortable, and I am definitely looking forward to doing some towing with this truck. So when we get back to the dealership, I'll end off and show you guys what the fuel economy is. But as you guys would expect, this is a big truck, and big trucks come with big boy fuel bills. All right, let's check out this turning radius too. Let's see, I'm gonna turn really wide here. Yeah, it's still the same. I don't notice that they've done any updates with that. But overall, guys, I'm pretty happy with how this truck handles. And 13.3 MPG, that's what you're gonna probably expect when the temperatures are that cold. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. This did a pretty darn good job. The 430 is not for everybody. If you really are like going to be using this as your main like transportation, you probably want to skip that 430, especially if you're not really towing much more than like 12,000 pounds. I think with the 373, I think it's rated for up to like 15. I'll put it here in the video obviously for you, but the 430 for me is what I wanted, even though I know I was going to lose a little bit on the fuel economy. And we'll be able to get long-term testing on mine once it gets here. But special shout out to Larry H. Miller, Super Ford here in Salt Lake City. Be sure to ask for Brian, one of the salespeople here. I am planning on doing some videos with him in the future, so be sure to check that out. See you guys in the next video.